I've been thinking about that interview you mentioned. Hey, go on.
Hello, how are you, Maya?
I'm good, thanks. This is a big deal for you to ask about, and how I am feels pretty significant. What's making you ask right now?
Today I want to talk about the word okay. Can you tell me about it?
Oh, that's a fun one. Okay, everyone uses it, but the story behind it is surprisingly American. It started as a joke about abbreviations back in the 1830s. There's this trend of misspelling things on purpose, like KG for no good. Then someone jokingly wrote Oll Korrect for all correct, and it caught on. What's interesting to me is how quickly it spread from a silly inside joke to basically a global standard. What made you curious about the history of OK today?
What does the word okay mean?
That's kind of a trap question. It seems simple, but it actually has layers to it. Officially, it means yes, or I agree, or just that something is acceptable. But context really changes things. Okay can be neutral, just acknowledging what someone said. It can be dismissive if your tone is flat, or it can be reluctant, like when you want to sound agreeable but you're not completely on board. The cool thing is how much is communicated without any actual words changing. It all comes down to how you say it. What does okay usually mean to you when someone says it back to you?
Where did the word okay come from?
So, the real story is wild. It's actually pretty American. Back in 1839, there was this magazine called the Boston Morning Post, and they started this inside joke where people would abbreviate things on purpose. They'd write KG instead of no good and stuff like that. Then someone wrote OK, which stood for Oll Korrect, which was a docate, which was a misspelling of Oll Korrect. It caught on quickly as a joke, kind of like internet slang today. But then it really took off when Martin Van Buren was running for president in 1840. Okay was his nickname because he was from Kinderhook, New York, which was nicknamed Old Kinderhook. So okay became a political slogan. That's how it jumped from a random joke to something pretty widespread. It's funny how much history is packed into such a simple little word. Did you know any of that already, or is this all new?
How was it created?
It was born out of a playful misspelling fad in Boston back in 1839. People were deliberately using quirky wrong spellings as shortcuts for common phrases like KG for no good or OW for oh right. So when someone wrote okay as Oll Korrect, a goofy way to say Oll Korrect, it was part of that trend. That first appeared in the Boston Morning Post newspaper, and from there, it spread like wildfire. It wasn't created with any grand plan. It really did just start as a silly joke that everyone thought was pretty clever at the time. The fun part is thinking about what kind of inside jokes spread like that today. Could you imagine if some random typo blew up on TikTok the way OK did?
When did it become popular?
It started gaining real steam in the 1840 presidential election when Martin Van Buren's supporters turned OK into a campaign slogan. Van Buren's nickname was Old Kinderhook because he was from Kinderhook, New York. So OK stood for Old Kinderhook. Suddenly, it wasn't just a quirky typo, it was tied to a major political figure. From there, it became widely recognized across the US, especially as rallies and supporters used it on posters and banners. It also hit the rise of literacy rates in mass media, so that certainly helped the word find its way across the country. It had some ups and downs over the next few decades, but it really became completely established as this all purpose marker when telephone operators started using it to mean message receive, which cemented it forever into the public lexicon. The timing of it all, the political backing, and then the phone operators. That's the recipe for a word taking over the world. Pretty wild history for such a little word, right?
Thank you, Maya. I learned a lot about the word okay. It was very increasing to know its history.
You're really into language stories. That makes sense given how often you switch between Urdu and English. But honestly, increasing isn't the right word there. Did you mean interesting or fascinating? It shows through how curious you are about words and their backgrounds, though.